All right, so I recently started a trading challenge whereby I'm turning $1,000 into $10,000, and right now we just doubled that portfolio because we are at $2,000 actually. And in this video, I want to do a breakdown of all the trades that I took and how I was able to, realize this profits basically. This is something that was requested for in the comment section in my last video, so I'm fulfilling that request by making this video. If you like something like this, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe, follow, share, and do all that nice stuff. All right, so let's get straight into it. All right, so first off, let's start with this particular trade that I took on I think this was the 2nd of March. Yeah, I took this trade on the 2nd of March. This was a BTC short position. I entered at $93, $93,000, and 5 to 10x leverage with a stop loss at 96k. Okay, so I entered this trade with $500. My portfolio was $1,000, so I entered the trade with $500, and I had my stop loss at 96 1,500, meaning my risk at that point was $160. So that's only 16% of my portfolio. And then the goal for that trade was $122. And the funny thing about this trade is the fact that Donald Trump had announced this Bitcoin strategic reserve plans for Bitcoin, and the crypto strategic plans for the US, and everybody was really bullish at that point. But that was when I decided to sell because not because I knew that this was going to happen, but because the charts were just saying so. So let's get straight to the charts and see why I was crazy enough to make such a trade. Okay, so this is the chart. It's a plain chart. I don't want to show you the chart that where I already done the analysis, and I want to start afresh. So looking at this chart here, what happened was I had already taken a long position here. I think I closed somewhere around here also before this huge rally to the upside, right? So I was anticipating a further crash. All right, so before I decided to take that short position, Bitcoin had already rallied up and I was in a long position. Although I think I took profit somewhere around here. Let me just confirm that real quick. This was the trade I entered at 81,297. So if I entered at 81k, yeah, somewhere around here was my entry, and I had made the exit somewhere around here. Anyway, because of the massive pump to the upside and all of the liquidation and all of this liquidity that got taken out of the market, I was anticipating a drop to the downside. Um, I think this manipulation was an attempt to induce buyers into the market, only to further crash prices and take them out of their positions, which is very typical with the market. But I was pretty sure that the market was going to drop. So why was I pretty sure? Let's go straight to something like the 1 day time frame. So on this 1 day time frame, like I had been saying for months, Bitcoin formed a double top, right? And the thing about double top formations is that they usually, if they play out anyway, it's usually like a bearish indication. It means that prices are likely going to drop to the downside because it is a reversal pattern. Now, so if we had this top here and we had this top here and we had here to be the neckline and we had here to be the neckline somewhere around here, right? So after such a formation like this, obviously, and prices dropped like this significantly, obviously, this rally to the upside only means that sellers are likely to come back into the market because this area here is where there is a whole lot of demand, is where there is a whole lot of supply. And as you can see, this huge fair value gap here, it's just very obvious that prices will likely drop once prices got here. So what I had to do was look for a way to identify the right time to get into the market. And one of the ways to get into positions, especially when you're looking to sell, is by looking for patterns, like chart patterns, maybe reversal patterns or continuation patterns or whatever it is. So what I did was I realized a rising wedge. So how did this rising wedge come about? This low here aligned with this next low here, and then we just try to draw it. This was where prices were at the time. Prices was at this point here. So after identifying this area here to be the demand area, right, I needed to identify a supply area as well. This is the obvious supply area first of all, but remember that this had not happened yet. So I then looked for a rhyming supply area, which would be this one. Now, if you look very closely at this, this is already a chart pattern. What kind of chart pattern is this? This is a rising wedge in which we have a resistance to be at this point and then the support to be at this point. So a rising wedge is usually a bearish chart pattern indicating that prices are going to drop. It usually happens when there has been a massive drop to the downside and then the market starts consolidating to the upside to induce buyers into the market only to drop further. It's just the way the market works. Also, if you look very closely, there was a whole lot of supply in this area here, so it only makes sense that prices slowly gravitate towards there only to drop further. And as you can see, that was exactly what happened. So after noticing this, all I did was to look for my position, to look for my short position and take my trade basically. And I didn't take that trade on the 1 hour time frame. I actually went to something like the 15 minutes time frame to do that in order for me to get the perfect entry. So what I did was, after noticing this area here, usually when looking for a short entry in a supply area, we want to wait for prices to align with the current price speculation that you have in mind. So look at this here. We started experiencing lower highs and lower lows, right? Obviously, that is an indication that prices are starting to reverse. So what I did was, I think I took my entry somewhere around here or here. Let me confirm that. Um, So my entry was 93,421. Where is 93,000? Yeah, it was somewhere around here. 421. I think it was here. Either here or here, one of the two. I'm not really sure at this point. But my entry was in this area because it was very obvious. But my entry was in this area because it was very obvious that this was a supply area that was going to react. And my target was, once we had broken below here, below this trend line, I was pretty sure that, okay, markets will likely drop to the downside. And if I'm anticipating that the market is going to drop, where will be my target? My target would be somewhere, around here, right, around 80K, because that's where prices were before. No, I not even just 80K. My target would be to sweep below this 80K and probably go below here, right? But obviously, as you can see, that was not what happened. But anyway, I still took the position because there was no how I could know what will happen in the future. And then this was how it looked like. I had my, like this, and my stop loss to be just above this high here, right? And as you can see, it's just about 3%. Most of the time, I like to use a 30% stop loss and on a 10x leverage. So this was from here to here, the move was about 11%. So on 10x leverage, that's about 110%. Now I didn't take the trade all the way to the end because I have to take profits, right? I think I got out somewhere around here or here. Let me confirm that. Um yeah, so when I placed the trade, as you can see, everybody was excited about it. And yeah, you can see perfectly aligned, right? And I was targeting this area, which was 83K. So yeah, that was my target. 83K was my target actually. Yeah, this was my target. So at what point did I leave the trade? I think I left. All right, so I left around here, which was 86. Oh no. Right, I left the trade around 86K. 86K because I was using something called trailing stop loss, which means that I kept adjusting my stop loss as the market goes. And that was exactly what happened. And as you can see on this trade, we were able to bag over $400. All right, so that was my first trade. That was the first trade that I took. Now let's go to the second trade. So as you can see, the market continued to reverse to the upside after I got taken out of the position. As you can see here, I got taken out of the position here. This was where my stop loss was, and the market reversed significantly. So indeed, it was a good idea that I took that, like got out of the market. And then I attempted to take another trade. Now this trade was the losing trade that I said I actually had. This one was a completely unnecessary trade because I could have avoided it. Obviously, I took the trade here, but the best place to have taken that trade would be here, which is where the real supply is in the market. And keep in mind that we formed a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern, and after we form a rising wedge, we are likely going to have a retest because we had a breakout. So we're going to have a retest. The retest was somewhere around here. So imagine having the retest here. But at the end of the day, it's trading. So I wasn't entirely sure that markets was going to get here. And I even said it actually. I was like, BTC is at an interesting position. And it looks like that upwards move to the market is slowly running out of steam. My major area of interest is 92K, but I'm not certain prices will make it that far. Here's my plan. Here's my plan in case 92K doesn't happen. So I wasn't really sure that prices were going to get back here. That was why I took this trade. I kind of feel bad about it because I could have just waited and trusted the process. But, you know, this is the thing about trading. It messes with your psychology a lot and you have to be level-headed when trading in this market. So I decided to take the trade anyway. And as you can see, let me show you, it was actually a losing trade. Look at it. Look at the tears here. People actually lost money. So, and then I posted, I just got stopped out. So look at this. I took the entry around here. This was the second trade. I actually lost money on this. I think the entry was around, what was it now? 86,000. So the entry was around 86,000, somewhere here. Right. So this was what I attempted to do to shut the market downwards, because remember, I was anticipating that we were going to clear this low, right? So for the fact that we didn't, clear it immediately, kind of made me want to take the trade. But as you can see, it didn't happen and I got stopped out crazily, and I actually lost money on that trade, unfortunately. But here's the thing though, right after identifying this situation, I then realized that the market was actually forming another rising wedge. Let me show you. So we had this low here and then we had this here, right? So this was all of the demand levels, right? And then we had this one here, and this was what led to me taking the third trade, right? So this was another rising wedge. Now, I identified two things in this trade, in this chart pattern actually. Apart from the fact that this rising wedge is another bearish pattern, very similar to this one. The only difference is that this is smaller, right? Apart from this rising wedge, I also identified a head and shoulders pattern, which is a reversal pattern as well. Imagine that you're forming a reversal pattern at a supply area. What other indication would you be looking for to take a short position in such a market? So let me show you what the head and shoulders pattern look like. Or first of all, let me show you what a head and shoulders pattern is. So so look at it. Heads and shoulders is a chart pattern in which a large peak has a slightly smaller peak on either side of it. Traders look at head and shoulders pattern to predict a bullish to bearish reversal. Like I said, it's a reversal pattern. Typically, the first and third peak will be smaller than the second peak. The second peak will be the head. So let me show you. It just mentioned three peaks. There are three major peaks in the market. The first and the third peak are smaller than the second peak. So look at this. Let me show you in the charts. So we had here to be the first shoulder, right? Then we had here to be the head, and then we had here to be the second shoulder. So remember I said three peaks, right? Three peaks in the market. So this right here, right? So this right here is the first peak. You can see the market went up and dropped, right? But did not go below this line. Let me show you the line. The chart is beginning to get clumsy, but stay with me. Look at this, is the line here. This here is referred to as a neckline. So the chart did not, after prices went up like this, we did not break below this line, right? And then we went up here. This is the head. So this is the first peak, second peak, and the third peak. This is the second shoulder, right? And as you can see very clearly, after this happened, prices broke below it. You can see that, right? So what I did was, obviously, I wanted to take a position, but I had not identified this second shoulder yet, right? This head and shoulders pattern was what led to the third, was what led to the fourth trade. Actually, this head and shoulders pattern was what led to the fourth trade. But this rising wedge, before I identified the head and shoulders pattern, obviously it would take a while to play out. I identified the rising wedge first. So what I did was I took a trade here, right at this place here. I took that trade somewhere around here. Okay, let me just confirm that. Right, so this was it. So I said I woke up this morning to Bitcoin being right where I wanted it to be. Here's my plan. I entered at 91,000 and my stop loss was at 94,000. Right. So 91,000 is somewhere around here. Yeah, I was right. And my stop loss at 94,000. Right again. So literally I took that trade because we were in a supply area and Bitcoin had formed a rising wedge. So I was anticipating again for prices to sweep below this low here. For prices to sweep below this low here. Right. So what I did was I took that position and dragged it all the way down, anticipating that prices would get as low as here. But you know the markets, obviously you don't control the market. So why do you think the market is going to go in your direction? It may not work that way. So I took the position and entered the trade like this. So I took the trade right around here and traded all the way down. But as you can see, the market actually reversed. And I had already been, I'm doing a trailing stop loss, right? So I had to keep adjusting. I had to keep adjusting my stop loss as the prices kept on moving. So look at this here. We first started at 92k and I adjusted my stop loss to break even, which is point of entry. And then I also adjusted it again to 89,200. So if my stop loss was adjusted to 89,200, which is somewhere around here, right? I put my stop loss somewhere around here because prices had dipped really low and then came back to be to make the space a high, right? So I put my stop loss just around here just to make sure that I don't get taken by surprise. And guess what happened? I got stopped out of the trade because my stop loss was here. As you can see, the prices reversed to the upside and I got stopped out. But obviously that was not going to phase me because um I knew that this area here was a heavy supply area, and then I identified this head and shoulders pattern, which I was already explaining before, a typical reversal pattern. I identified it ASAP because after this move happened, it was very, very obvious at that point. And then prices were now gravitating towards the major supply area again. So obviously, this entry was very, very important. And what I did was I took the trade again, almost at the exact same entry, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, 90,000 was my next entry. $90,369,000 here. 90,000, yeah, somewhere around here. That was my entry. And then I took that trade like this with my stop loss right above this head of the head and shoulders pattern. And I just took that trade all the way down. This was on a Friday, so it was really, really slow because the weekend was very, very slow because not a lot of trading happens during the weekend. Stock markets are closed and everything. So it was a really, really long trade and it took a while to play out, but it was definitely worth it. As you can see, prices went crazy, right? So look at this. Yeah, so right around here, as you can see, I actually talked about the head and shoulders pattern here as well. Look at this, and you can see this was my entry here, right? So inverse head and shoulders pattern might be playing out. If this completely plays out, it definitely has the potential to send prices really low for Bitcoin. Right now, we just retested the supply area, just like I talked about here. Hence why I'm in a short position. So that was when I took this short position here. And as you can see, just immediately prices started to move really, really fast. Really, really fast. Like if you're not active in the market, you may miss out on things like this. And as you can see, we took that trade all the way down. And this was what took the portfolio right straight to $2,000. So far these are the trades, these are the only trades that I've made, and I intend to make much more trades. If you're interested in seeing the next few trades that I'll be making, then you should join my private group. Or if you want to be able to trade like me and be able to identify all of these things, then you should hop on any of my mentorship program or my courses basically, in order for you to, you know, trade profitably and understand the market better. Because I find that a lot of people do not really understand the market. That's why you don't trade properly. So the portfolio right now was had gone really, really crazy, and we were at $2,000. Right. And for every of these trades that I took, I think I indicated how much I was going to trade with. I think so. Let me see if I did so for the last one. Yeah, for the last one, I also mentioned it's $600, a portfolio of $1,000. So yeah, I think it's fair enough. There you have it. I just did a breakdown of all the trades that I've taken so far. So if you actually enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, share, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.